Matt Birkbeck's first book, A Deadly Secret, unfolded the bizarre story of Robert Durst more than a decade ago. In his book, he wrote about Christian Modafferi, a Charlotte teen who vanished from San Francisco just 3 weeks after getting there back in 1997. Birkbeck helped investigators link Modafferi's disappearance with Robert Durst, someone he profiled. He said he had odd habits, dressed in drag, and visited homeless shelters despite being the heir to a New York real estate empire. The family of Christian Modafferi still believes Robert Durst is linked to their daughter's disappearance.
I'm very happy that these dormant cases are being looked at now in a very real way. And I'm talking about both Modafferi as well as Mitchell.
Just this week, another teen, Karen Mitchell, who disappeared from Eureka, California around the same time, is being linked to Durst.
The evidence, the circumstantial evidence linking Durst to Christian Modafferi, it was there. It was kind of thin compared to the Mitchell case. The Oakland police this week issued a press release saying at this time they don't have any direct evidence linking Durst to Modafferi, but it doesn't mean that they're still not looking into it.
The FBI plans to look at both cases, but Modafferi's case is not linked to Durst's, at least not yet.
The evidence in the Mitchell case is far more compelling. They could place Durst near Mitchell at a homeless shelter where she worked. And then there's a composite of a man that Mitchell was last seen with that looks remarkably like Durst.
Let's go back to the Christian Modafferi case specifically again. You know, she was last seen leaving a coffee shop. She'd only been there about a couple of weeks, and then she vanishes. And now, it's been, 18 years this June. It's a long time, and, still a lot of unanswered questions for the family. Do you believe Robert Durst had something to do with her disappearance?
I don't know. I know the evidence that they have. It's interesting. I know that there's some other things that they've recently learned that could lead them to find even more evidence. I met with the Modafferis years ago in Charlotte. Very nice people. I felt for them. It's a terrible story.
The Modafferi family have now moved to Florida and released a statement earlier this week and just say they want answers and some sort of closure.
What's he doing hanging around with the homeless? What's he doing stealing numerous identities? And how did he ever learn to dismember a body?
Police arrested Durst last weekend. He is accused of murdering his longtime friend Susan Berman back in 2000. He's also accused of killing and dismembering a man in Texas, but he was later acquitted. Now, again, just last week, police searched his condos in Houston, and they even found a copy of Birkbeck's books. Durst faces additional weapon and drug charges in New Orleans.
The FBI continues to investigate jailed real estate heir Robert Durst. Police are focusing on several other unsolved murders across the country. Durst is in a mental health unit in a Louisiana jail and awaits extradition. He's being investigated for cold murder cases in New York, Vermont, California. Archith Seshadri has an exclusive interview with the man who authored the book on the Durst case. His name's Matt Birkbeck. Hey, Arch.
Jenna, we spoke with him just a short while ago. Matt's first book, A Deadly Secret, told a bizarre story of Robert Durst more than a decade ago, where he wrote about Christian Modafferi, a Charlotte teen who vanished from a San Francisco cafe back in 1997. Now, he says he helped investigators link her disappearance with Robert Durst, a man who he had profiled, someone who had odd habits like wearing drag and frequenting homeless shelters despite being the heir to a New York real estate empire. Now, the family of Christian Modafferi still believes Durst is linked to their daughter's disappearance. But Oakland police and the FBI this week say they simply just don't have the evidence to link the cases. Just this week, another teen, Karen Mitchell, who disappeared from Eureka, California around the same time, is being linked to Robert Durst. Police arrested him last weekend. He's accused of murdering his longtime friend, Susan Berman, back in 2000. He's also accused of killing and dismembering a man in Galveston, Texas, but he was later acquitted. And just last week, police searched his condos in Houston and even found a copy of Birkbeck's books.
I know the evidence that they have. It's interesting. I know that there's some other things that they've recently learned that could lead them to find even more evidence. I met with the Modafferis years ago in Charlotte. Very nice people. I felt for them. It's a terrible story.
The Modafferi family, who've now moved to Florida, released a statement earlier this week, and they, at this point, really just want answers and some sort of closure. This June, Christian Modafferi would have been 36 years old. There is a $50,000 reward being offered in her case. Robert Durst faces additional weapon and drug charges in New Orleans. And tonight at 10, we'll have much more on that interview. Jenna.